Well, I want to remind everybody of something. I know there are some Dragon Ball fans who are like, we want Dragon Ball Super, and oh no, you made Goku a kid again. But, and I can tell you from my own experience doing it, what's great about Akira Toriyama is that he can take one of his, an old concept or an old idea and make it fresh. Like when Resurrection F came out, even when we heard about it, I remember thinking, oh man, Frieza again? I thought we were done with Frieza. But then it was amazing. Yeah. And then they brought back Cell, and I thought, oh, when are we going to have a new villain? But it was amazing. So initially I was like, well, he's a kid again. I mean, I was GT, but I know if it's his project and he wants to do it and it's his baby, it's going to be great. Yeah. He's really just so good at just telling stories and such a master of comedy and humor and creative ideas that while I'm a little sad I'm not Goku in most of it, I am in the beginning and the end probably. I haven't seen the last part yet, and I can't say too much. But and I think they just announced a theatrical release for the English dub, which I don't know when that's coming out, but that was a surprise to me actually. They just called me one day and said, "Oh, so there's in theaters." I'm like, "Oh, all right, that's cool, that's fine, that's great." I thought it was really cool. So I'm confident for those of you hardcore fans that are like, "But I didn't want Kid Goku." I still think it's going to be amazing.
I agree.
Because of Akira Toriyama's magic touch. Yeah. And we're all going to miss that. And I think it's going to reverberate throughout the universe forever. Yeah. So, and I'm here for the rest of Z, Super when it comes back, if it ever does come back, because they would be fools not to finish it. But that's up to the folks in Japan. We got to respect that. Yeah. But I'm here for it if they need me. And the journey is going to keep continuing. Yeah. So, and I know they announced this at New York Comic Con last year. I know they made a 10-year plan with Akio Yoko's company, Capsule Corporation. They want to do more movies and more video games. So, but they have limited bandwidth. One Piece is real popular right now. Yeah. Toei animates that as well. One Piece is an amazing show. So, I'm just excited for Toei's success in that regard. I'm also grateful to them as well and all the support they've shown me over the years of playing Goku, et cetera. So it's just been, in spite of this tragedy, that we lost Akira Toriyama Sensei too soon. Yeah. There's beauty in what's left to do for his powerful, powerful work. Yeah. And I would not be sitting here knowing any of you or shaking your hands if a young Japanese man in the 80s decided to not draw a little Goku. Yeah. And so I'm here because of the power of one and a pen and imagination of staggering proportions.
That's so good. I think so many of us are here because he drew Goku one day, right? Because Goku really set the stage to change manga and anime storytelling and for forever. Yeah. And I think a lot of us are here because of that. And that's why I'm so pumped about it too, because it's one of the last things that he's leaving for us, and everything he's touched, in my opinion, has been really, really good. And from a fan perspective, same thing with Resurrection F and Superhero. I was like, dude, Frieza again?
Yeah,
why?
yeah, exactly.
Holy cow.
And it was great.
And then Superhero was like,
Cell, what? But it was great.
It was awesome.
So
okay, that was great.
That's why I'm like, if it hadn't been written by Akira Toriyama, I'd be like, sus a little. Yeah. I'd be like, is it going to be good? Because he wasn't all over GT, and some people like GT, some people don't. I like GT just fine. I think it's good. And they're borrowing more elements from GT. People are like, is GT canon? Well, they're using Pan more. They're using their Super Saiyan 4 and Sparking Zero. So they're starting to borrow more elements.
Dragon Ball's Sparking Zero is out.
Yep.
And I know, who's played Sparking Zero?
Sparking Zero's lit.
Yeah. I know you put a lot of work into it.
I spent a lot of hours.
Talk to us about that project. Talk to us about how,
We started working on it like early last year. I was in studio every week, twice a week, all year. Wow. Damon Mills directed all my lines. Voice of Frieza. He directed all the local LA I think he directed the whole game. I don't know. There were some other characters that were directed in Texas. And it was an extraordinary project. First of all, I have to thank Namco Bandai for making just a stellar game. And I want to go a little far here and say I had an emotional moment with the game because I don't really get to see much of the game when we're recording. We just have a long list of lines and descriptions of how we're supposed to say them. And I had every once in a while I have like a weird, epiphany moment about my role as Goku or about my experience doing it. And what I thought was great about the animation I saw, the video footage of Sparking Zero I saw coming out since the game's come out, and even before when it was pre-release, was I was watching a scene with me and Chris. It was a really intense Kamehameha type situation scene or whatever. And I remember thinking, this is finally the first time I'm watching my voice in this digital animation for the game that's how it feels when I'm working.
Oh, that's cool.
Like, so if you want to know what it feels like to be Goku and play the character, that's the first time I've ever seen anything that made me, because in every other instance, I'm seeing pre-rendered animation and I'm matching them. And I don't think the Japanese team is animating to me. I think they're animating to the Japanese voices, and then they use computer technology to make the mouth flaps work with all the other languages.
Rather than you having to match it,
Yeah.
they're just changing the mouth flaps.
And so that's why sometimes things don't line up, because we don't, and that's no disrespect to anybody on the team, but it's extraordinary. They have to do it in 14 different languages or more, and it's an extraordinary number of moving parts. Plus, we've done so many artistic things with the show that we feel like even Namco Bandai wasn't aware of. For example, they weren't quite aware that I changed the voice slightly for each one. So they were actually very helpful in helping us keep track of that, because Damon was telling them, no, Sean does a different voice slightly for each one. And they were very cool about just being particular about getting things right. But, you know, everything's on a budget. Everything's on a schedule. It's a very polished game for the first release. I'm so impressed with what they've done at Namco Bandai. I, for the first time, was geeking out along with you instead of being Goku kind of separate from it all. Because when I'm doing the acting, I can't really geek out with you, because geek out energy affects my acting negatively. I can't be a fan when I'm being Goku. I just can't. Yeah. And so for the first time, I remember thinking, I want all the movies to look like this. I want the movies to look like this, and this is what it feels like. And I just got goosebumps, and I was so thrilled to be a part of it. So Sparking Zero is just if you guys haven't played it, it's probably going to be the best Dragon Ball game ever released. Awesome. I can't say that definitively because I haven't played it yet, but dude, it's just been a tour de force of power.
That's awesome.
That game's amazing. Yeah.